what we're going to ask, well, let's pick up. We were talking really about, I suppose, giving yourself permission to accept that you've even got needs in the first place.
Permission and trust. I'm thinking, do we bring it back round to these archetypes, crone, enchantress? Because I think we've not talked about those at all. And linking that into, I term it as reframing and reclaiming menopause.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So the crone terminology, the whole terminology around these archetypes, how do you describe that in a way that the average person can get it? Because it's a, when we've been fed this narrative that, you know, menopause is a disease, it's something to fear, and, you know, all of the medical terminology around it, which I'm not keen on either, but in some cases it's very necessary at the same time. How do we make that sit alongside these archetypes to gain some of our power back?
Okay, so the archetypes, really, an archetype is an energy, and so these four archetypes, the maiden being the young woman, mother, enchantress, and crone, is very much around what we class as sacred feminine energy. So it's very they're all the feminine energy that we can feel within our womb space throughout our lives. So then four archetypes, they work within a woman's life in terms of chronological stages or ages, transitions, but even within the menstrual cycle. So kind of the maiden energy is very much pre-ovulation or ovulation time as you're coming into ovulation. So it's that kind of spring, kind of frisky lamb energy that you can feel around ovulation. If you're really connected to your cycles, you may feel these energies. And so autumn, or, you know, kind of coming into the menopause transition, like I said, I don't like the term perimenopause, because for me it really feels like it dilutes the power of the menopause. It's just become another stage.
Okay.
I don't know if you've lost me.
No,
am I still connected? All right, okay.
We're both that interested. We go very still because we're both listening. Seriously.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so I don't like the term perimenopause because for me it dilutes the power of menopause, which is a transition. For me, it's not a certain date where you're like, oh, I've not bled for 12 months, therefore I'm menopausal. It's a transition. So it's, again, that's the energy. But anyway, going back to autumn is very much premenstrual phase in your menstrual month. So, you know, I think to try and understand this, it's about feeling. And so I'm trying to bring you to say the premenstrual phase, you know, it's that rage, it's that like, but actually the premenstrual phase, we're told by society that, oh my God, it's that crazy time in a woman's period. It's actually the time where women is really in their own truth. They've kind of got rid of the crap that you know, they're cutting the slack of all the crap, and they're like, no, this is it, but it's seen as rage, it's seen as like women being aggressive. But actually that's when women are pretty much in their truth in this premenstrual phase. And that's exactly the same energy as the autumn energy of coming into menopause. So it's a feeling, I think, that hopefully women that are listening to this may be able to resonate, or may be able to say, oh yeah, I get this, because it's energy. It's so, yes, it's a knowing rather than, well, how or why. It's not the scientific, it's a knowing. But it's, you know, if we are, as women, very, very cyclical beings. We are nature. You know, nature isn't something different to us. We mirror the cycles of nature. We mirror the cycles of, you know, the moon, of the seasons. And so therefore, you know, look at nature to see where we're at. And autumn, like I say, is that time of, we're slowing down. There's that pause. There's that, and it's a time of reflection. It's a time in a woman's life where we look back and go, okay, this is the life I've led so far. Is this what I want to take into the next half of my life? What do I need to let go of? What do I want more of? How can I express myself in different ways? And it's that stirring of like, well, is there something more? Is there something more to me? Is there something more to my life? So menopause, in an energetic kind of way, rather than a physical way, is a time for reflection. It's a time for stillness. It's a time for pause. It's a time of darkness. You know, if we look at autumn, we're starting to go into the darker months, and it's that darkness is when we come within. When we come within, it's the darkness, and you know, that can be scary. That people don't always want the darkness. We want the light, but to have the light, we need the darkness, and we need, you know, and again, we learn that from nature, you know. Yeah, has that answered your question? I can't tell if you're listening to me or not, because sorry, you keep freezing on my screen.
No, I don't. Well, we might be freezing on your screen. I think
I'm not sure if I'm
just
talking to myself.
Avidly listening.
I think I've lost you.
You've not. We can hear you, Lorraine. No problem. She's definitely frozen now. Yeah, I was going to say. Oh, there she is.
Sorry, I lost you.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I was just thinking about that concept of being.
I'm going to stop my video.
Yeah, sure.
This is even worse. I've got it tethered to my phone.
Angie, was there something else you want to ask her as well? I was just going to take it down a slightly different route, but about disconnection again.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. The only other thing I was going to ask was about the crone. The word crone, the term crone, is often in the Western way.
Connotation.
Yeah, very different connotation. So I just wanted to expand on that.
Yeah, I think Lorraine uses the word hag as well, and again, that's something that has quite a negative. And then I think she associates both of those with the wise old woman, which, yeah, I kind of, that sort of sits better in terms of that negative connotation. But I suppose it's reframing it again, isn't it? Like you were saying, definitely.
Being open to having other input rather than it all being about this medical event. When you're open to that and you're willing and you're curious, then yeah, it does open some of the doors, but not everyone's ready for that, and that's okay. No,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's you know, all joking apart, I find it quite it's a radical concept for me listening to Lorraine talk, where it sits well with me, it rings true, it makes sense. It's just not something that I have any kind of personal experience with. I've not done an awful lot of yoga courses and all the rest of it, but I've not really spent any time doing the work that she's talking. Or maybe I'm doing myself a disservice, and I've already been doing the work by just being more. I just don't associate being more with perhaps journaling or meditation. And I think, you know, it is like we've been reiterating all along, it's finding ways that work for you. They don't have to be getting your crystals out and rubbing a ball and crystal ball, I was going to say, not just any balls. I'll have a giggle while we're grateful for rain. But if rubbing balls works for you as well, just as long as you're present in action.
I do it, that's fine.
Definitely keeping this in, not cutting this. Well, Lorraine, oh, she's there. Let's see if we can let her back in. Poor Lorraine. She'll be fretting with a better connection.
Yeah.
There's no worse than when it's you, is there? Yeah. I think we've been very lucky with the connection so far. Yeah. Don't worry, it's fine.
Okay, we're all right.
Part 3. We were discussing rubbing balls while you weren't here, so it's all good.
Discussing what?
You missed out. I meant crystal balls. I think crystal balls, but it just came out as balls. Where my brain is. No, it just can I ask my question, and then Angie, because I'm just conscious I'm going to go. It's not really a question, it's an observation. We're talking about disconnection. We touched on this the other day, and that connection to cycles and being a cyclical being, and this medicalization of menopause. And it's almost like the taking away, like you said, it's trying to reclaim it because we're having it taken away from us. It's not ours anymore. It's the thing that we suffer from. And I was back to thinking along the lines of, as even a maiden, being immediately put on the contraceptive pill, which immediately disconnects you from your cycles. And it's that messaging again around that is, you know, well, if you don't want to get pregnant or you want to control symptoms of your own menstruation, the easiest or the best way to do that is by a hormonal replacement. I mean, at the end of the day, the oral contraceptive pill is just another form of HRT. It's some kind of hormonal input that is not belonging to you or part of you per se. So that, yeah, that disconnection, I suppose it's more of an observation than it is anything else. Anything to add to that, or, you know?
No, you're absolutely completely right. And so that disconnection starts very, very early on in a woman's life. And, you know, it is that disconnection to cycle that if we're so disconnected, we don't know our own energies within that month, within our cycle. We don't know when we are at our most vibrant. We don't know when we do need to rest, because we're just so disconnected to our cycle. But we are such cyclical beings, and it's so sad to see that. You know, I started charting my cycle about 8-9 years ago. So I chart it every month, and I do chart it with the moon, as to, you know, and, you know, we know ourselves that, you know, if women come together, women that live in communal households or women that work in offices together, after a while, their cycles will all start coming together. You know, that it's quite common that, you know, women will menstruate at the same time. That's the energy that we're now talking about, you know. But if women are so disconnected, then when they come to this time in their lives, to this transition, it will feel scary, it will feel huge, because of what that narrative is keeping us disconnected.
And the focus is then on an external. It becomes menopause is something that happens to us.
Yes.
And again, that's another means of disconnection, isn't it?
Yeah,
rather
absolutely.
than being something, okay, we can't control it. I can't turn on when I want my period to happen or not happen. I can't control exactly when menopause is going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, see what you're saying there. Totally get that.
And embracing it and seeing it as part of our journey as a woman, as part of our feminine, you know, our feminine being. Yeah. And the other thing I want to say before we do wrap up, which I haven't mentioned, is about, you know, we've talked about the not the practicalities, but how can women connect or start connecting to themselves. The other thing I do want to mention is play, you know, and that's the other thing. As women, we're not encouraged, taught to play. We play as kids. So when I was saying earlier about coming back to things that lit us up, you know, when do women play? Men play, men go fishing, men have a shed, men do sport. But as women, we are doing, we because we're busy serving other people. So you know, in the work that I do with women at this time in their lives, it's about bringing play back in. And play can be, and that's about the creative self as well, and expressing ourselves. But also, I'd encourage women to play with how they feel they can connect with themselves. There's no set one rule, and you know, I call it, you know, in terms of spirituality, it doesn't have to be heavy stuff. Spirituality, or being a spiritual being, is about finding meaning and purpose in life. That's it. And for me, there's a lot of fun and play around that. It is, you know, it is serious stuff, connecting to self and really being in our truth and living in our truth, especially around this transition time in our lives. But let's do it with some fun and some play as well. So I would encourage women to have, you know, carve that bit of time in their day, whether they need to rest, whether they need to sleep, you know, again, depending on where they are in their cycle. It may be that just have a half-hour power nap in the afternoon. It's self-care, it's self-love. And this is the other thing, we're not encouraged to love ourselves, but it's nurturing ourselves. We are nurturers for others. This is a time to nurture ourselves. So depending on where you are in your cycle, you know, through through this transition. It may be that hour a day, if you can carve that out, half an hour a day, is a power nap to restore you. It may be meditation, it may be a dance around the kitchen, it may be a walk in the park, it may be belly laughs with friends. You know, to me, having a really good belly laugh is like just so nurturing. And that's when I really feel connected. You know, like we were talking right at the beginning about when we go for our beach walks or whatever, it's that mutual connection, Kelly, because I do feel nourished. And to me, that's connecting to self, because I'm connecting to my spirit, I'm connecting to my essence. So that's what I'm trying to say is, it does sound sometimes like serious stuff, and it is serious stuff, but it's also having that flip side of having play, creativity.
And that's play for me in a way is like self-expression, isn't it? It's another form of expressing who I am, and I can choose how I do that. And that's going to change through my life. And I always notice for myself, if I don't express who I am, if I'm suppressing that, whether it's through play or other things, then I'm more likely to feel the things we talked about, the disconnection, the anger, the rage. I'm going to struggle with myself more, and I'm going to be hearing the critical voices, not going deeper in and hearing the real self.
Yes.
So it's not just about having a nice time through, for me, playing with dogs on the beach, with my friends, playing the piano, literal playing. Music is very important to me. It's not just about having a nice time, but I can affect my experience of myself, my life, my whole experience of that cycle of energy. I'm not expecting it to all be the same, you know, energy levels wise. So yeah, I think you're making a really big point, and it's true from my experience that play and having fun and self-expression through those means is one of the first things to go when we get overwhelmed and stressed. And putting other people first.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's what I would encourage as kind of starter. And the thing is, it is small steps. It's small steps to, you know, connecting to self. As I say, we you know, for women to come into their 40s and we haven't been shown how to, we haven't been encouraged, we haven't been given permission, and yet we're now facing this natural, organic transition in life, which is huge, because it is that pause between where we've lived, how we've lived, and how we want to live the next half. As you say, reclaiming that, reclaiming our life, reclaiming our menopause. And it is that pause in the middle between that and that. And so it's, that
in itself feels powerful to me. I can feel that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, isn't it? And how powerful is this? Women coming together and talking about this, you know, not, you know, I was talking to Kelly earlier in the week about it, about, you know, kind of the celebrities that have claimed menopause, really. And to me, like I've said, you know, it's an industry, but what that message. So, you know, people are going, oh, it's great, we're talking about menopause, you know, the MPs, it's in Parliament, we're talking about, but we're talking about it as women staying young, you know. I don't want to name celebrities, but the main ones that have got books out and cashing in on this as well. But don't get me on that. But, you know, they're nice and sleek, and they're all fit, and they're looking young, you know, and it goes against really energetically what menopause is about, you know. This lovely kind of soft belly that I've now got in the past 18 months, you know, despite I'm active, I walk a lot, I do yoga. I've got this, and I have got weight gain. And, you know, one of the books I refer to, she says, you know, this is your cushion to take you through the journey. You need this as a little bit of cushion and padding, you know, and I love it. I kind of, and our bodies will change, our physical bodies will change, but more than that, the energies within us will change. You know, it's we don't embrace change. We're not because we're meant to be static. We're meant to be, like you say, this kind of, we're always productive. We're always at this energy level, and you see that just within our cycle, in our menstrual cycle within the month. We are meant to just function and perform and be as productive. We don't allow. But if we look at nature, if we allow to mirror nature, you know, look at other animals. They go with the seasons. They, you know, hibernate. They go in. And this is what we should be doing. Not should, I hate that word should, sorry, but I'd encourage us to learn to do, whether that's in our monthly cycle or in the bigger transition of our menstruality.
I've got to go. Angie, I've made you host. I don't want to say too much. Thank you so much, Lorraine, but I don't want to
thank you.
Don't interrupt the flow. Keep going. I will can listen to it when I get back. That'll be amazing. Thanks, Lorraine.
Thank you.
See you soon.
I'm just going to try and leave.